Blanco for his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. Can someone confirm that my screen is visible?
Yes.
Thank you. I will introduce the City of Gardeners. My introduction will focus on how planning can include agriculture in designing and developing urban districts. And I have a case, and it's the case of Oosterwold in the Netherlands, and I will share with you. I've been briefly introduced. Jan-Ilke Jansma, Wageningen University. I consider myself as an action researcher, so my research is always looking for impact. And my direction of research is urban agriculture, urban food planning, and urban food strategies. I work locally in urban living labs around Amsterdam, Almere, nationally, but also in EU programs like EU Food City Boost, a recently started program on urban agriculture. This is the context. Many cities around the world striving for so-called fresh city food regions of the future. Fresh is an affiliation of food self-sufficiency, resilient cities, environmental sound cities, so to mitigate climate change, socially inclusive cities, social cohesion, but also creating healthy living environments. And most of those cities looking for agriculture to cooperate. So try to cooperate and see the opportunity to have agriculture involved in the urban development. But the everyday reality is that still there is quite a gap between what we call the hinterland and the city. Agriculture is a bit segregated from the urban life and only considered as a food producer, ignoring and overlooking the other contributions agriculture could have to a better, healthier, environmentally sound urban life. And in practice, you see, if you see a city from above, this is an example from the Netherlands, you see neatly designed urban development where we live, consume, have a good time. And the other side, the rural side, where agriculture practices, not necessarily connected, are both. Usually there is a ring road or like a modern mount or a watershed between both sides. So the reality is still that there is hardly any connection. And if you really want to strive for city region connection, how to look for and how to plan for a connection between both in a modern way. So that's the question, also the question of my presentation. And I will introduce the city of Almere. It's east of Amsterdam, a new town, relatively new, about 200,000 residents. Real urban. Brief history of the city. It is a new town, so we Dutch, if we see water, we like to create polders, what we call polders. Maybe you are not familiar with, but we create dikes, pump the water out, and create land. So nearly 60 years ago, Almere was still water. During the 70s, the city was created. The creation of the city was partly based on Ibiza Hauner's garden city design. So it's a polynuclear city design. And this is the modern city in the polder, a new town. And basically the start of development till 15 years ago was basically traditional. So urban development, pushing away agriculture, and creating an urban environment and excluding agriculture. But from 2010 onwards, city strive for another opportunity or another direction. To the left, more urbanized, and they created on the right side, so the green side in Almere 2.0, a new approach. The city really strive to include agriculture in their development, and specifically in the development of its new district called Oosterwold. So I explained the first 20 years, 25 years, the city was really focusing on segregating agriculture. And in the new master plan from 2010 onwards, at least at the east side, they strive for a kind of integration. And this, I think this master plan of Oosterwold is really unique. They set out 6 ambitions, but the key ambitions, at least for my introduction here, are that urban agriculture is the backbone of the district. It's really written down by urban planners. Of course, the district should be sustainable and self-sufficient, and leaving maximum freedom to the new residents to develop this area. So it's a kind of top-down plan, but in this top-down plan, leaving as much as room to the residents to grassroots-based develop this area. And they translated this master plan of these ambitions in a basic set of living rules. So the rules of the game for the residents of the area. And one of the rule is that 50% of each plot, so if you want to live in this area, you purchase land, 50% of your land you've been purchased should produce food. Another basic rule is that most of the development of the area is by self-organization. So roads being self-constructed. If this is the same for your residence, your house, and so on and so on. You have to create by yourself or with neighbors or groups of people, or it's up to you. And I think, and there are several other rules connected to this region or this district. And the rule of the authorities is a bit backward in the sense that they control if you apply to these rules. And if you apply within these rules, you are free. You have the maximum freedom to develop the type of house you want, how you want to live, how you want to produce your food in the area. At least as you stick to this 50%, at least, and so on and so on. And it's not on a small stamp. This is 4,300 hectares, about 50,000 new homes in the future. So it's really impressive in a way. And I think I consider it as a huge experiment because it's very new that agriculture is being included in this development. And from this 4,300 hectares, of course, 2,000 hectares are being intended to produce food. What about the residents? Because from 2016 onwards, new residents started to develop in this area, start to live in this area, start to construct their homes in this area. So we are 8 years already in the running of the development of this area. I carried out a survey in this area to know how people cope with urban agriculture, because a bit of the background of these people, demographic background. Most of the people are urban, so they come from the Amsterdam region or Almere region. Do not have that much experience in growing food. Mostly higher educated, creative people. And 2 age groups. So the younger families, 30-40, and seniors, 50+. And if you see how they cope with this new rule of urban agriculture, you can see 4 ways. People accepting this in a pragmatic way. So I have to cope with this rule, so I will plant some fruit trees, and I consider that as urban agriculture. We have the group that is really looking for a social way, so the green environment is paramount for them, and food production is part of it. Then we have the group that see this new way of planning as an opportunity to develop a business, whether it is a farm or creating a beehives or a nursery, you name it, you can find it in this area. And then you have the group of people that is really committed to the rule, and they are really focused on producing the food in their backyard, maybe for the family, maybe to barter, but not so much to sell. And it is a bit 20-25% each of the groups. Business is a bit smaller, social is a bit bigger in numbers. So I started with the idea of how this tension between cities want to create this fresh city future, fresh city region futures. But yeah, I'm a bit reluctant or try, but not always successfully include agriculture, trying to include agriculture, because agriculture has a lot of benefits to this fresh city region future. I came with an example, and the traditional one is separating housing and agriculture. The example of Oosterwold is a bit creating a new layer around cities where, yeah, this is not a hard border between both of them, but let's say a zone of living and agriculture. And that's interesting. A part of this new area of Oosterwold might be developed more like an hybrid between both. So settlements, and in between professional urban or agriculture or urban agriculture. So, and I think that's giving an added value in yeah, the development of this fresh city regions in my perspective. So Oosterwold is not finished yet. The development will stretch over the next 10 years. So I hope that I can show in the future the evolving planning of this area. Maybe if you are interested and want to read more, I can direct you to The Guardian of November 28th. A two-pager on this area with also interviews with people living in this area. And you can also find more scientific papers and other papers from me or my colleagues on my LinkedIn page. Well, thank you. And showing, and that's the last part, is that thinking about the contribution of agriculture is not new. This is city wall of Istanbul. And even in those times, agriculture and the city had a relation. And I think we have to strive for new relations with agriculture to create a healthy, environmentally sound, and an interesting living environment on the urban side. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
I stopped sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And I don't see any question in the chat, but please open your micro if you want to ask something now. If not, you can, of course, write in the chat, and then we will address the question later after the second presentation. So just briefly check if there are questions or comments. Yes, there is. Alessandra, please.
Sorry, I don't want to steal the floor to others, but thank you, Gianelco. But simply, I had a simple question. Why there was this shift from the previous policy that was not really in favor, and then something like all of a sudden the municipality became like really in favor of integrating urban agriculture. And what has been the role of researchers, activists, if there was any role also of like people like you, Janelko? Yeah, I was curious because yeah, I was curious about that.
So yeah, you're totally right, because so I have to explain my part in this this transition. It already was 20 years ago that I approached the city. I knew that the city intended to develop in the east side, and I was invited by the planners to join in the meetings. But they, in that time, they were not interested in integrating agriculture in development. But not only I could inspire them in the next years but with new ideas, but also I created a group of let's say civil society within the Almere region, and we created new pictures, new inspirational narratives about how the city could evolve, develop with agriculture, and that it was under the heading of Agromere, so Agro and Almere, and on a certain moment that inspired the policymakers of the city, and interestingly, and that's always the clue, because they could link it to the original design of the city, so they could also show to policy there was a link with the past, and we know that each city have in the past had links with agriculture, so that makes it them easier to make the leap from separating to integrating. So it's yeah, sometimes it's serendipity. So some things come together. So my ideas with the group of the civil society of Almere. So it was a bit grassroots movement together with you know, old planning documents of the city. Also in an area of it was 2008-9, so the financial crisis. So everyone was a bit, yeah, looking for new ways of developing. So it all came together, and I think the last one was that there was a chief counselor who really took the lead. So sometimes you need a mayor or a chief counselor who say, okay, I embraced it and I will take the next step. So that was a cooperation of different ways: grassroots, top down, new perspective, old information together.
Okay, thank you. There are two questions in the chat from Marceline Bonneau. Marceline, if you want, you can open your micro directly, if you prefer. Or
yes, hi. I think we can even open our cameras now. Is it correct?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
open
maybe.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I closed it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It's great to see you all, and thank you so much for this very, very interesting presentation. I had heard so much about Almere, but I had never deep dive into what was really happening there. So thank you so much. I had two questions because you talked about the master plan, and I was wondering how, in terms of kind of legal, the first question is in terms of legal terms, what's the legal background really to ensure this kind of development of the area? And especially as compared to the rest of the city, the conditions are quite strict. So how can they be implemented? And yeah, how can they be implemented but also made compulsory, still within legal boundaries? And the first question, if I can ask it at the same time, is also in terms of development. I understand there is a whole DIY aspect, but I was wondering whether real estate group developers or individual developers were recruited to work on it, and how did it work with this overall master plan, and how does this, yes, I would say structured creation of the area combined with the DIY aspect, what people could do in terms of their own urban agriculture. I hope the questions make sense. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. Concerning the latter, is that the basic rules not only comply for individuals, but also for real estate developers or farmers or whatever you want to develop in this area. You have to comply to this 50% rule, do-it-yourself rule. So we in Oosterwold we see a high diversity of types of development. So there are a group of people developing with families, shared housing, individuals, but also real estate developers. And sometimes they create small settlements, but then they still have to leave this 50% to food production. Sometimes they hire a farmer or a group of people from this settlement going to farm this 50%. The same is for example, for roads. So you have to create with your neighbors an association, and with this association you have to create a road. And of course, the road has to be in a formal structure, so in formal width, and so that is all settled in rules. But the type of road, if you want to have tarmac, stone, or whatever, that's up to you in your association. And just bringing to the other question of you. Of course, this way of development is critically different from normal Dutch development, because the normal Dutch development is, sorry, total segregation. But again, the city was lucky that they could take advantage of the so-called crisis law in the Netherlands. This was issued in the financial crisis from 2008 to 2014, which leaving cities with more space, freedom to set rules for the development. And within these rules, they could create the let's say the legal frame with these rules for the area. And of course, there are some critical ones, because how you define urban agriculture and how you monitor if a set of fruit trees is enough to be urban agriculture. Sorry, and that's still a debate in Oosterwold, how to monitor and control, because not everyone complies in that strict way to urban agriculture. And now the discussion is more, you can use the carrot or the stick. The way of developing, or the authorities work, is more with the carrot and with the stick. I think also they want to leave this legal debate on what is urban agriculture, because that's really difficult. So that's a bit of the background towards your question.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. And yeah, I don't see any other question in the chat. Probably we can start with the second presentation, then at the end, of course, if you have other questions, comments, we can have the Q&A session. So thank you, Jan. And now we start with the second presentation. I don't know, Marianne and Jorge, if you're ready, you can start and share your screen.
Hi, I'm not able to share my screen. I don't know if Marianne can share it.
Okay, otherwise I will check your presentation. Marianne?
She says she's muted.
I will check because she's the microphone is open, also the camera. Oh, I see her. Yeah, her camera is. So Marianne, you can't speak now because you are able to open your mic and your camera. Anyway, I will try to share your presentation.
But I think it's a question that you can. I am not able, not because of my computer, but because of your permission, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I'm checking, but yeah. Anyway, Marianne, as the micro and the camera, they are open, so she should be able to speak.
No worry.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, she's trying to rejoin the meeting. I'm gonna open again. Okay, now I'm showing your presentation. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we wait for Marianne, or should I start?
Yeah, please.
Please, I do start. Can you share it in full screen? Is it possible for you?
Yeah. We'll try to share it in full screen. Just 1 second to enlarge. Okay. Can you see it better now?
Yeah, okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Jorge Molero Cortés. I'm from the Spanish Network of Municipalities for Agroecology. We are a national network of municipalities, and Marian Simón Rojo is from the University of Polytechnic of Madrid. So we're going to talk about cooperation and translocal governance to address food policies and boost agroecological urbanism. Such a long title to talk about cooperation between cities and municipalities. So next slide, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. So about us, as I said before, we are an official network. We are an association of municipalities and provincial councils. We are at this moment 35 municipalities. We have no provincial councils yet, but we are hoping get some people on the boat soon. And this is red, that means network in Spanish. So municipalities, we have big cities as Barcelona, Valencia, Zaragoza, and many others, and very small villages with less than 1,000 inhabitants. So we have big cities and small villages. And the agroecology concept, because we are for the agroecology network, for agroecology, this is our goal, but we don't, we have some people that are moving through, towards agroecology. And with this idea of agroecology, we talk about some different issues, as for example, right to healthy and sustainable food, climatic change, rural-urban links, and food sovereignty and participation, and of course, food policies. This is our network is a network of food policies. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So our mission started. Why this is our mission? Because food policies and local food policies in Spain started not a long time ago, and there was a problem. We have the same legal framework for all the municipalities, but we have no governmental or regional frameworks to work in local food policies. So many administrations were looking for some examples, for ideas, for local legal frameworks to work on towards it. So we created this network in order to exchange ideas, and to help. And our mission actually is to help local administration to build local food systems that are, on the first place, sustainable, resilient, environmentally friendly, also inclusive, safe, and diversified. And the main goal is to ensure healthy, sustainable, and accessible food for the entire population. and also that foster local employment. So we're trying to reach three perspectives, as you may see: environmental, social, and economical perspective. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how do we work? What is our government? So we have two regular assemblies twice per year. One is our main assembly, where we gather more than 150 people in different cities all over Spain, cities and villages. And we have another economical one. We have an active board of directors, which is constituted by mayors or deputy of mayors and other people. We have also a social organization council with more than 37 organization participating in no governmental organization, and works with local entities, with local governments. And we have also technical working groups, different 6 technical working groups, some of rights for food, the other one is public procurement, another one is evaluation of food policies, the next other one is small villages, other one is about feminism, and the one where Marian works is food urbanism or urban agroecology and so on. And we have a dedicated technical secretariat, is where I work. I'm the coordinator. So next slide, please. So what are our core activities? As I previously said, our main goal is to exchange knowledge through working groups and webinars and seminars. This is what we do: practical stuff, ready to use, or sometimes ready to use, and sometimes it's just thinking about how to tackle the main issues we got. And also with this purpose, we develop some technical resources and guidelines that are freely shared among all the people. And we do a lot of policy advocacy at local, regional, and national levels. Recently, we have established relations with the Ministry of Agriculture, with the Ministry of Agenda 2030, also the Ministry of Ecological Transition, some other ministries, and with some regional governments. And also the FAD has many other projects with project coordination and implementation. Actually, we are working in more than 5 projects besides all these core activities. So next slide, please. So as I previously said, we deepen knowledge through projects. The project is the main goal, how we do this. So the first project is RURBACT project. This is try to strengthen in local food policies and producers. And this is financed by the European Climate Foundation. The problem is how to link producers with politicians and technicians from those different municipalities. And this project that has been running for 3 years has been trying to do this. The other one is live seeding. Is Horizon project is trying to support organic seed system from a local food policy perspective. We started this last year. And other one is the Barcelona Challenge, which is the focus on climate and food action. This is mainly financed by the Ayuntamiento de Barcelona and Fundación Daniel Nira Carasso. And the other one is Alimenta Territorios, which is food strategies or food policies in small villages in risk of the population. Maybe you don't know, but in Spain we got mainly the core of Spain, the interior of the peninsula. We got several problems with people abandoning the small villages, where this project is trying to promote people works and many other things in local areas. Another one that has been working, Marianne, as well, is the ASOF for Food, is Action for Education and Spatial Organization and Planning. So yes, this is a problem where we deepen our knowledge. Next slide, please. Some of the recent achievements. So the first one is the publication of urban planning and food system guidelines, where Marianne was the main author. And we have been training successfully some municipalities training people in food policies and right for food, and also in public procurement. And we have a growing network of collaboration organization where we are working with a lot of actors in our country and outside our country. And this leads to our last issue, which is international recognition and partnership. We're partnership with Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, and we are partnering with many others. So next slide, please.
Yep.
So what's next? The first one is trying to expand our network and membership and reach. We have 8,000 municipalities, and we are only 35, but we have done a deep research about how many municipalities in Spain are performing or developing food policies, and we got also like 150 max. So we're trying to get them on board and working with other local municipalities network. The other one is where Marian is working, is deepening integration on food in urban planning, because our country is very far away from the Netherlands. When he was talking, I was amazed on how can you make people to live and grow food at the same time. We have no, at least at my knowledge, there's no mayor trying to promote this, but we're trying to deepen on it. And the other one is make the links between producer and the municipality stronger, because the problem is like they are very linked. And nowadays is municipalities usually they don't have competences in food policy issues, and they're not talking with the municipality. So we had to try to break this. We try to promote this link to get on board. And the other one is supporting climate action through food systems. As you may know, we had a big issue last October. What happened in Valencia? This the Mediterranean coastal area. We are going to. This is the first I think the first big consequence that our countries experienced from this perspective of the implication of the climate change, and this should be focused with regards to food planning and food policy and urban planning and agroecology and many other issues. And the last one, but not the least one, is the right for food. As you may know, food insecurity is increasing in other countries, even in Spain. I don't know in your countries, but in Spain, food insecurity is more severe than it was years ago. So we cannot, we're throwing 1/3 of the food that we produce, and there's still a lot of people that are not able to get into this food at a sustainable and healthy way. Next slide, please. And yes, what is doing, because this is the link where Marian is going to talk, is the urban planning integration. We have a dedicated working group on agricultural urbanism. Marian will talk about this. Integration that is trying to integration in food system urban planning tools. And as I've said, we have developed a guidelines for municipalities, and we focus on territorial approach to food systems. So I give the floor to Marian. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Yes, next slide, please. So the network provides the network, and within it, we work specifically on urbanism, agroecological urbanism, and we work in a very cooperative way among peers. It means that it has a very technical approach, and the goal is to expanding the vision of what is possible between the members of the working group, but also filling the gaps of applied knowledge, because sometimes people at the public bodies or at consultancies or architect studios, they do not really get the potential of integrating food into urban planning. So, and sometimes we also have gaps. So we don't learn about this in our faculties. So we need to fill that gaps. And another important point for this working group is that topics are decided together. It's not like external that push the topics, but we decided together which were our main priorities. And this, well, the main priority was about land use planning and land protection. And specifically, which topics is agricultural land protection, agroecological special plans, the regulation of uses in protected areas, and how to make them compatible, this land protection with enable the activity, the economic activity in agricultural land about food processing, also ecosystem service compensation or public agroecological infrastructure and facilities. So we are working on what we decided that was important for us. And next slide, please. And this, we say it's peer cooperation, but it's peer plus cooperation because of the diversity of profiles. We are members of the academia, but most of the members of the working groups are technicians from municipalities or from regional offices, and there are also some practitioners. So altogether, we have different approach and we understand different, well, the needs from when you are inside the institution trying to promote food into urban planning is different from that come from the research world. And what's very, very important is that we have created this trust between us. So we've been working together for some like more than 2 or 3 years, and now we can address the question openly. So, and it makes really a difference when we can explain directly which are the problems and how to deal inside our structure, especially for the public offices in the municipal departments. And also, it's a good important point is that there is a geographical diversity. Here's the map. We are from the island, Canary Island, the Balear Island, but also from Barcelona, Catalonia, Andalusia, Galicia. And this is an important thing, that we are very diverse geographically. Next slides.
Yeah.
Please. And this is because we are a decentralized country. So urbanism and other public policies are assigned, the competencies lay at a regional level, at each community, autonomous community. So it means that we have 17 different laws on land and 17 different laws on other stuff connected to food. And this has its positive fact is that some regions have advanced different issues. So now that we put information together, we see how to size what others have made progress. For example, in access to land, some communities are already on the forefront. Others have worked more on protection of agricultural land, others about protecting family farming, other connections with other plants. So we have like a really diverse situations from which we can learn from one to another. And next slide, please. And the important point is that we have a common background. Even if now laws about land use planning and urbanism are regional, we have a common trunk with the shared principles like general interest as a guiding principle for our plans, the social function of private property, which is really important if we want to have public policies integrating sustainable food system into urban planning. We have specific instruments like compulsory transfer for public facilities, and also this concept that when we make urban development, the capital gains have to be shared with the society. Also that this is a gradual process. Developers don't have rights until they comply with obligations. And also that municipal zoning plans are mandatory. So they are really strong instruments to put public policies related to food into the space. This common background, it has also that it was developed when the main focus of urban planning was urban development, urban growth. So it doesn't fit. Sometimes we need to explore how to adapt it to a context where there shouldn't be more urban growth, really, or large cities becoming larger. But it is the path for exchange and learning between the components of the working group, because we have a same culture and we have a same background. And the last slide, please. So this is our examples of how do we boost agroecological urbanism and how we make connections or links between food and urban planning. We have internal discussion, internal open discussions, open seminars, dialogue with different administrations, workshop that we bring them into different territories to share our common findings, publications, and examples here to the right. This is an example of a case in Madrid working about urban agriculture, commercial urban agriculture in public vacant plots. And the way in which the city council has explained to the rest how to modify the normative, the regulatory framework, how to connect it with the problem of heat, urban heat in the city, and the role of urban agriculture. It has really been it has provided the key facts to adopt or to follow this example, because really it's not that we need more new ideas, but the really critical point is how to apply them in reality. And that's I think we work hard in this working group, and that's what all. The next slides, just this. Yeah. So thank you. And if you have any question or comment.
Thank you, Marianne, Jorge, for this presentation. We solved the technical issue at the end.
Yeah, thanks.
And so I'm checking the chat if there are comments, questions. So please open also your microphone. You can directly comment or give feedback, or share also your experience. There are many participants today, so maybe just waiting.
Maybe we can ask also, is there a similar kind of networks in your countries?
Yeah, are you asking to the participant too? Yeah, or Alessandra? Yeah, please.
No, to reply, no, first of all, congratulations for your work. It's really super interesting. And also, I mean, Marianne, like only one work package on working group seems to be a lot. If the other working group at the same level, is really powerful. So congratulations. No, in Italy, we don't I don't think we have a similar network on really focus on agroecology and how to empower like agroecology and food policy, but we have the Italian network on local food policies, which is a researcher professional network that its action research is a lot about raising knowledge, raising awareness, and I think it's very interesting also to have a dialogue among these different networks that are present in different countries, France, Spain, Italy, and others, to see what is happening, what are the challenges, and to really communicate, because also the Italian network is quite active. I'm part of it, and it would be really interesting to connect to this your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe from the Netherlands, we have a national network on urban agriculture, which joins, let's say, local food policy organizations of cities, at least some cities, and we have also a national agroecology network. It's more farmer related and more rural related, but we have both. And they are also both quite active in organizing meetings and workshops, pressure research, policy, and so on.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if other participants from other countries want to share their experience also, or no, I don't see.
Everything was so clear that we have no questions.
Yeah, probably, or they need more time to reflect. So
No, yeah, just kidding.
the video recording and also the presentation will be available on the Urban Agenda website, on the Food Partnership webpage. So, and of course, in the presentation, I think there are also your contact email address. So if members and other stakeholders have some question, they can also, of course, send us or you an email after the webinar.
Rafaela, may I ask a question for Jorge? I was curious at how your network, how it is embedded in local policy, or is it has it the power to change policy or to influence policy, maybe in regarding local food, urban agriculture, agroecology? Is it accepted as a source of power, of local power, or yeah, and how does that work? Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, in fact, we are an association. We don't have any power, but legal power, but we have a kind of convincing power, which is very important for the politicians, because many of the politicians, they think they have discovered America sometimes, where they try to plan, they think, we're going to grow food in the city, and they see there's a lot of people all around the country and in other countries are doing the same. And when they join together, they say, I have done this. Oh no, I have done this as well. So they kind of empower themselves and go they back home and say, I have seen this. I know because we have shared these ideas. I know we give them, or we look for example, the urbanism. Marianne has research, which is the main, many legal aspect that can be very tricky. And they can get ideas in order to make these local local competencies in order to fulfill into this food planning. You know, a kind way of it's not it's a soft power, we could say. It's a soft power of convincing and people sharing idea. With this idea, many people started with only one project, and then when they see other projects, they get their ideas and they replicate the projects. So, and this from the point of view, yes, and that's why we're trying to do this policy advocacy. When we go to ministers and then we ask them, why don't we have a food policy for local food policy in Spain? Are we trying to make a framework? So we are negotiating with the Ministry of Agriculture, trying to do something about this, to get into the urban planning, to get, you know, it's like kind of pushing, because the question is like, I think the mayors, they have a lot of power because they're there's the closest administration to the people, and they are usually better ranked than the other politicians, so people trust usually them. So I don't know why, but I think this is a kind of soft power working in this with this local government and sharing these ideas. That of course one goal to transform the city is to have someone political one is very, very active and convinced in order to do this, because otherwise even if they are technicians, if the politicians they don't take interest in this, there's nothing to do from our perspective.
Yeah, I think the same holds for the Netherlands. So it's more about having influence than power, because power is other layers, but you can influence power to change. And I think that's what these groups do. Same in the Netherlands. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so if there are no question, we can end the meeting on time. And so I thank you all for your presentation and also for the participant for joining our webinar. And yeah, all the material will be available on our website. And from January on, we will also have other webinar on different topics. So please see the Urban Agenda for You website to have more info on the next webinar. So thank you all for the participation and for your presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.
Thanks for the contribution.
Bye.
See you.
See you
See
soon.
you. Bye.
Bye
You,
bye.
bye.
Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.